in most classifications,
Yeah.
I think we have a good view of who we think are the favorites. Right. 6A's, I think, a little more wide open because I don't think there's that team that has established themselves as the true dominant power. But, I think 6A is more wide open. 5A, you look at the Alitos, the Denton Ryans, the Manvilles, a few others down there. 4A, Argyle has looked very good, as well as maybe, and then Gilmer and West Orange Stark look very good as well. The 3A's got theirs, 2A's got theirs, and I think 1A's got two very clear favorites in Richland Springs in Division 2 and Happy in Division 1. But there's always party crashers.
That's true.
So I want to go through a couple of schools across the state and buy or sell them as a party crasher. And by a party crasher, I mean a team that we could be talking about 4 weeks into the playoffs.
Yeah.
That all of a sudden you go, whoa, all right, that team's for real. Look what they've been doing.
Sure.
So where do you want to start?
Let's start with our good friend Larry. You may have heard of him.
Larry Hill.
He's a pretty good football coach.
Mhm.
He's got this team called Smithson Valley.
Yeah.
And I know Larry's not an impressive name, but his team, they're pretty good.
So they're 4-2. Okay, and their two losses are to Round Rock, pretty good team.
Pretty good team.
Round Rock team by 6.
Yep.
And then they lost to Cibolo Steel, very good team.
Very good team.
By 7.
Right. And that's good. 7.
That's it.
That's close.
That's it. They really drew our attention last week when they beat Schertz Clemens.
Which I predicted and you did not.
Yeah, that's correct.
You know why? And this is why it's going to build on this.
Okay.
No, this is.
Go ahead.
I am buying Smithson Valley.
Yeah.
I'm going to spoil it here.
Okay.
I'm going to buy Smithson Valley. This is a team that knows how to do it.
Yeah.
They've been doing it for a long time, and while they may not have as much talent as Cibolo Steel or some of those teams, or Schertz Clemens some years, they just know how to win football games, and I could absolutely see them in a regional final, especially with that region's draw.
And now you look at the rest of their schedule. They play New Braunfels Canyon and this week, and then at the end of the year they play New Braunfels. Between that, they do play Judson, which let's just assume that's a loss for now. Okay, I don't
No
think
reason to assume that, Greg.
Correct, but they are going to make the playoffs, and they would be going to. They're probably going to go to Division. They are going to Division 1, so they will be the second seed in Division 1. I do think there's a run there. I think that this is the toughest district in Region 4.
Yep.
And if you're a believer in Josh Adkins, their quarterback, which I am, I like a lot of what they're doing. They're putting up 40 points a game, and more importantly, their defense has been very good and very, in my view, consistent. When you take a Schertz Clemens team that's putting up a bajillion points a game and you hold them to 21, that's really impressive to me. I mean, heck, they held Cibolo Steel to 24.
Right.
This is I really like this team. I'm buying them.
The problem, right, is if we assume Judson does win, that makes them the second seed probably out of that district. And who does that mean they're going to get in the area around?
I don't know.
Would it be Lake Travis?
Maybe. It may be Lake Travis.
If it was Lake Travis,
I don't have the projections in front. Actually, I should go to Texas Football.
That would be
projections.
That would be tough.
That would be very tough. Based on our projections,
if they can avoid Lake Travis until the regional final, I think they can do it.
Based on our projections, TexasFootball.com/projections, they would play. Well, hold on. Well, hold on. We've got them in Division 2, which is interesting.
Interesting.
If they go to Division 2, then they would play a team like Brandeis in the second round. But although I think this is working under the impression that is this right? Clemens and Judson? No, never mind. So they would go to Division 2. I guess I was reading this wrong.
Okay.
They would go to Division 2.
Oh, there you go.
And if they're going to Division 2, that's a much more manageable thing.
I like them even more.
Our projections would have them going through a team like Brandeis.
Right.
Not a pushover, but they'd be
I think
favored.
they do that.
Probably Leander, Churchill. They'll probably be favored in either of those. Then they may draw a team like San Benito, which
a tough
game from the Valley.
Sure.
And then at that point, they'd be in a regional final against Cibolo Steel, who they only lost to by 7. So I think I'm buying Smithson Valley. I do think I'm buying Smithson Valley. What's next?
Always trust coaches named Larry.
What a weird statement that is.
I don't know why. I just love that he's like the only coach I know named Larry. It's great, and he's great. Lubbock Coronado, buying or selling? This is a tough one.
It's a tough one because, honestly, their best win of the year. Now, their win over Lubbock Monterey was really impressive.
Yeah.
And for me, what impressed me there was the fact that they played defense. Their defense has been a little bit up and down, but this was a very good Monterey team that they took care of business against. They draw Lubbock Cooper this week, so part of me wants to say I want to wait a week.
Yeah, I understand.
But for the sake of the segment now, I'll say that I'm buying them with a caveat. Because for me, their best win is over a 4A team when they beat Andrews.
Right.
And they just outgunned them 49-28. Now, I really love Quay. Quay Gray is incredible. Yeah. If you don't know his name, Quay Gray is a really impressive.
Number one.
He's a very impressive quarterback, and he's been fantastic. They're averaging 48 points a game. They've been ridiculous. To me, they are the front runners. If they can, they've still got two more tough games. They got Lubbock Cooper, and they got Abilene Cooper, and Abilene Cooper just beat Lubbock Cooper. Yeah. So you've got two of these games still to go on the schedule. But as you start looking at the way that the brackets are projected to come down, it looks like they could draw. Corona or Amarillo in the first round, and Amarillo is the kind of squad that. Okay,
this is a weird matchup.
It's a weird matchup.
Game plan.
And then they draw a team from El Paso, which there are a couple decent El Paso teams, and then they'd probably draw Denton Ryan. Whoa. And so it depends on what you mean by buy. I want to see what they do this week against Lubbock Cooper. If they come out and they impose their will on Lubbock Cooper, then I'll get firmly aboard the Mustangs bandwagon.
You know what?
Now I'm selling just.
I was going to say I'm inclined to sell, not because I don't think they're good. I just think that's a hell of a draw.
It is.
You may end up with Amarillo in the first round. Tough to game plan against. Mm-hmm. You could get nipped just because you don't play defensively well enough against a very special kind of offense. Uh-huh. Then you got to go on a long road trip potentially to play an El Paso team, and then you have to play Denton Ryan.
Yeah.
It's
tough. I think the draw really works against them there. What's next?
We'll stick out there. Let's talk about Sweetwater. You buying or selling?
Let's talk about Sweetwater, a 6-0 team that I don't know if we're talking enough about. Now, I don't know if they've beaten anybody in their weight class. They've beaten a bad.
It's hard to a lot of times when you play out west,
but they are killing fools.
Yeah.
Okay? They're averaging 56 points a game. They're beating teams by an average of 56 to 15.
Right.
Now, I don't think their strength of schedule is all that good. But the offense is humming, and you can't deny that. The next 3 weeks is, to borrow a phrase, nut-cutting time.
Yeah.
Okay? At Seminole, home for Monahans, at Midland Greenwood.
Right.
You will learn a lot about Sweetwater right now. Based on our projections on TexasFootball.com right now, we've got them. They will, of course, go to Division I because it's pre-divided. Right. Or Division II, rather, because it's pre-divided. They'll draw Brownfield in the first round. Interesting. Brownfield has a quarterback that can make you pay, but they'll be favored there. Iowa Park is a one-loss team, and then they probably draw a team like either Seminole or Perryton, or maybe Graham if they catch fire.
Right. And
then at that point, here's the thing. The good news for them is that if they win that district, they will have beaten all of the best teams in that region.
Right.
Because that district, District 2, is really District 2 is really for real. So we'll find out. The playoffs for them start right now.
Yeah.
Because they will play all three of the teams they will likely have to beat to win that region.
Right.
There. In the next 3 weeks. So for now I'm buying. I'm buying because I think that they are the best team in that district, and as a result, that would make them the best team in that region.
Okay.
But we'll find out a lot more in the next 3 weeks.
Fair enough.
What's next?
This is another one I don't think people are talking enough about, but I've noticed them on the ratings all the time.
Dude,
it is Hallettsville.
Dude, nobody's talking about Hallettsville.
Nobody's talking about them.
Nobody's talking about Hallettsville. And the argument that, like, with some of these teams we've said, oh, well, they haven't beaten anybody. Not the case with Hallettsville. They've beaten Schulenburg. They've beaten Shiner, and I know that's a 2A, but they beat Shiner. They beat Bowling.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. They've already beaten Yoakum, who I still think is a really good team, even though I think their record...
They have playmakers for sure with the Morgan.
Exactly. They have beaten some good teams, and they're doing it with defense. 12 points a game. They've given them 96 points all year. Now, this week, this will be a common refrain, they battle of unbeatens. They draw Altair Rice Consolidated, a 6-0 team.
Yeah.
But Tommy Sensek's squad is
tested, man.
They are tested. And when you get to the playoffs, I think they've got a super, super workable draw.
Interesting.
Okay? Luling, then probably Goliad, and then probably a team like either Rice Consolidated or Lago Visto.
Well,
or maybe Mathis, who remember was a state semifinalist last year. And then at that point, they'd be in the regional final, and they'll probably play Yoakum again, who they've already beaten.
Maybe. Right.
Or George West, if you're buying into George West, or Edna, who they'll have to beat in their own district. This is another situation where I think that they are the winner of this district, maybe with the exception of Mathis or Goliad, is the best team in that district. Yeah. And so as a result, I think I'm buying it. I think that right now there's no reason not to buy the Bramos. So I'm buying Hallettsville.
Right there with you.
And let's wrap it up.
Monday Moguls.
Coming off.
One of the best mascot names in the state.
Coming off of a really, really impressive win over a previously unbeaten Electra squad. I'm selling Monday.
Okay. That was a weird build-up for selling them.
I know.
That's weird.
It has nothing to do with them. Their one loss in the year is a 2-point loss to Hawley, who, that's a good team. Quay Stokes has been great. Yeah. Okay, but they've beaten Stanford, they've beaten Bront, they've beaten Windthorst, they beat Electra last week, which is really impressive.
Right.
They have Haskell and Petrolia back-to-back weeks, which won't be easy, but they should be favored in both of those. Here's the problem. They're gonna draw Albany in the second round.
Okay, I understand now.
The problem is they're drawing Albany in the second round.
Yeah.
And a team that is battle-tested, that has eyes on a third straight trip to a state title game.
Yeah. You got to shock the world to make a run.
Even, let's say they get past, and first of all, I got to get past Lindsay in the first round, which isn't easy. Yeah. Region 2 in Division 2 Division 2 is really brutal. Okay? So here's their path, according to TexasFootball.com's projections. Lindsay, Albany, Ira Ann. Night. They're not beating all three of those.
That's tough.
And then if you get past that, you get maybe like Munster, which is not easy. And then at that point, you're probably playing a team like Wellington in a semifinal. Yeah. I mean, to me, Monday. This has nothing to do with Monday. It has to do with
brutal draw,
an absolutely brutal draw. And for me, Ira Ann is the best team on that left side of the bracket, Region 1 and Region 2.
And Albany's still there.
Exactly. So for me, that's where I'm leaning towards. I'm saying sell, and it has nothing to do with Coach Patrick Corcoran's squad, but rather that this is just a really tough draw for them. So that's buy or sell.